completely unfiltered behind the scenes sort of designer diaries with me, Shannon. In case you didn't know, I am the founder and designer and knitter for Revel Knitwear, which is a knitwear label based in Melbourne currently. And we make all handmade knitted pieces that are ethical and sustainable. So one thing people always ask me is, how long does it take to make something? And I usually just kind of go, oh, it's approximately this or it's approximately that. And I've done a few time lapses where it's sort of like 7 minutes and it's, you know, a week or so condensed into this 7-minute video. So I actually thought it'd be kind of cool to do a full video on the entire process of knitting a garment and like what that really takes. Because I think sometimes people can even look at the price of something and think, oh, that's really expensive. But when they see what goes into this, I think they're pretty shocked. So in a good way, I hope. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna bring you along the whole week. Normally it will take me about a week to knit something because I have another job as well. And so I'm doing both and it's pretty time consuming. So I fit, you know, knitting into like morning, evening, night. I'm gonna give you even like just kind of like what my mood's like and how I'm managing everything. And yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of fun to give you a bit of a behind the scenes look. So you've come on a good day because normally I knit quite traditionally. So what I mean by traditionally is I knit with literally 2 needles and a ball of yarn. So these 2 needles are what we call straight knitting needles, and you cast on your stitches onto one needle and then you knit across onto the other needle and then you switch and you keep going. But on the weekend I was sewing up a big cardigan and I've actually been struggling a lot with my back and with my wrists and my hands, just a lot of pain because it's really, it's really time consuming. So you end up knitting for a lot of hours and it hurts your back and your hands. So what I decided to do was, even though I typically design and make most of my things with straight needles, you can actually use circular knitting needles. And what that means is you're using a circular set, meaning the tops look exactly the same as a normal set of needles, but then they have this circular loop. And so what it does is when you're knitting, and particularly when you're knitting sort of chunky and a bigger garment, it means that it can rest on this loop rather than, for example, if I'm knitting with straight knitting needles, the weight of the garment as it gets heavier, I'm holding that entire weight. And that's just becoming a lot out of, like, I think I've been knitting for like 15 years now. So I thought it's time. There's some designs that work better for this and some that don't, but I'm gonna give it a go. So today I'm gonna start a rainbow sweater in a size small for an online order. And yeah, I'm gonna knit them on this circular set of needles and see how I go. I'm hoping that I can pull it off because I'm normally used to knitting with my tension and everything on a straight set, but I'm hoping I can do it on this. So let's get going. I've also downloaded a time tracker app to track how many hours it takes for me to do all this because I never do it. So I will check in with you maybe each day and kind of tell you, okay, this is how many hours I've done, or this is the time that I've done, and we'll see at the end of this project what it ends up being. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so glad that everyone can join me on this journey. It makes it kind of fun because, you know, I'm sitting here every day just knitting and it's, you know, it gets a bit tedious sometimes. So I'm hoping that you'll really enjoy this and let's see what happens. About half an hour straight. So I've clocked that onto the timer app. And I've actually just moved from, I was sitting up at my table there, and I've kind of moved to putting a few bits of kind of like softer things behind me because I find that my back gets quite sore. I think I'm like, I just can't relax my shoulders and things sometimes when I'm sitting on a hard surface. So I've just moved down here and progress. So far, that's half an hour's work. It goes longer than that. So let's keep going. Alrighty, so day one of starting the new knitting project is pretty much done, as in daylight hours, because yeah, the sun is setting. But I want to show you how much I had done. So pretty much almost half the front, which is pretty cool. And I've calculated the hours so far is an hour 35. So pretty cool. I'm gonna do some more knitting tonight. So if I add more onto the timer, I'll let you know. But yeah, that's with the new needles, and I'm really loving it. I think I've noticed a huge difference in my hands and in my back. My back isn't sore. My wrists always get a little bit sore because of the the repetitive motions. But I'm really happy with the new needles. So I'm gonna keep using those. I'm pretty happy with how much I achieved in an hour and a half. So let's see how the rest of the week goes. This is day 2 update. So today I worked all day. So from about 8:30 to 4:30, then did all the live stuff, making dinner and all that. And then tonight I have knitted for what I clocked as 2 hours. So for day 2, the running total is 5 hours of knitting so far. And very excitingly, I finished the front or the back because they're both the same. So that's exciting. This is what could be the front or the back of the rainbow sweater. And that was completed in 5 hours, broken up over 2 days. So pretty exciting. I always feel super accomplished when you get, a big piece done. So for a little sort of mood, how I'm feeling update during the making of all this. So my wrists are quite sore and just sort of my thumbs get a little bit sore, but it's actually not too bad. And I've noticed, as I said yesterday, a really big significant change since using the circular needles because they have been taking majority of the weight. As you can see, I'm mostly going to be doing these updates, makeup free, freshly washed hair, all that really unglamorous shit, because that's just how I do it. I'm not like dolled up knitting at home. I'm really enjoying this process of recording it and everything, and so far feeling good about how much I've achieved in 2 days. So I'd say I'm ahead of schedule, which is great. And the dilemma that I always get myself in by this point is that I want to keep knitting. Like I just want to keep going and keep going. I've got more energy to keep doing it. But what I find is if I do that and the time at the moment is like 9:25 at night, then I get overstimulated and I can't go to sleep, or it's hard to get to sleep. So I need to just try and, even though I want to go back and do more, I'm like, just stop and then do that some more the next day. Full disclaimer, I am a tired hot mess right now. So I didn't record a little entry yesterday, so this is for yesterday and today. Yesterday I knitted in the evening, so I'm doing my day job during the week, and knitted last night for an hour 40. That's all I could manage, and I've been moving a bit slower these last couple of days. I haven't been feeling that well, whatever that's all about. So yeah, today I also did an hour 40, so we're looking at about 3 hours over the last 2 days, and I'll show you what the progress is so far. So this is where the project is up to on the second side. So I've already done one of the pieces that would be a front or a back, and then now this is going to be a front or a back. They're both identical in the pattern. So I am over halfway again, and I looked at my timer app and I have done 8 hours of work so far. So that's a total front and half of the next one. So we're looking at 8 hours of knitting so far. Happy Friday, everyone. So today is my day 5 check-in. So I've been knitting for 5 days, knitting a rainbow sweater, and tonight I actually only knitted for 45 minutes. I've just been working all week at my day job, and I just really needed a bit of a break because it can be pretty tiring. But I did manage, 45 to an hour in. Total time of knitting so far this week has been 9.5 hours, which is pretty crazy. And I'll show you what I've achieved in 9.5 hours. Okay, so this is the total for the week. So this is basically a front and a back, which is really cool. So that's been 9.5 hours of work. So now I'll do the sleeves and then work on sewing it all up. Pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm pretty proud that I've been able to achieve that this week on top of working full time during the day as well. Total project time so far is 14 hours, 29 minutes. So basically 14.5 hours. So in 14.5 hours, I've been able to do a front and a back of a sweater, the one sleeve and sew it up, and start another sleeve. So before I started this project, I thought that maybe it would be 20 hours total. So let's see though in this next little bit, how much more time there is, or how much more time it takes. So my hands are doing much better. They aren't as sore as they would normally be, and I'm putting that down to the use of the circular needles. I think the circular needles have been able to take the weight off my hands a lot more, whereas previously at this point in the project, my thumbs and in here and my wrists would be really, really sore. And today I'm experiencing a little bit of tightness in my thumb, but nothing really bad, so it's pretty exciting. Okay, so it is Monday morning and I'm on the home stretch now of the sweater. So I've been knitting for exactly a week today, and I'm gonna try and probably finish majority of the rest of it today. Mondays are my dedicated day for the business, so I'm gonna try and get some stuff done. So far, the total is just under 20 hours of knitting. And so originally I thought that 20 hours would be all that it took me. Like I would always summarize and people would say, how long does it take you? And I'd say, oh, around 20 hours. But I've been sorely mistaken. It is much more than that. We're looking at 20 plus hours now. So it'll be interesting once this is actually finished, just how much time this has actually taken. So today, this is where I'm up to. This is the second sleeve. So I'm halfway on the second sleeve, and I've already done the front and the back and the other sleeve, and I've sewed the other sleeve up. So not long to go now. I think in this process, I've learned that with made to order, it's great and, it's really sustainable and all those kinds of things. But I have continually reflected on the fact that it's really unsustainable for me. So to give you guys background, I do a day job during the week, 4 days a week. I do the business 1 day a week, all day on that day. And then I have to do the business in the evenings and mornings of every other day, basically, to keep everything going. And so I'm just gonna relook at the structure of the business after this season. And I think I'm gonna have to make a few adjustments so that we're a little bit ahead of the curve and I'm not always making every single order literally as it comes in, because although people think, oh, that sounds great, I'm gonna go put my money there, which is exactly what I want you to do and exactly what I would expect you to do. But for me, I'm learning that that's not sustainable for my life. So I need to think about how can we be made to order, but how can I also make it sustainable for me? So yeah, that's something that I just need to explore. And I mean, I already spoke about this probably this time last year, like in the Designer Diaries episode, maybe 3 or 4 that I did last year when I was doing the AFC program. I was literally saying, oh my God, I'm so tired, I'm so run down, this is so hard. Because the reality of it is that it is hard. So while I really enjoy it and I love knitting and I love making everything like this, I just need to relook at the structure and figure out how to make it that little bit more sustainable, because you always get to this point in the season where you're sort of right into winter, it's getting busier, which I'm so thankful and grateful for. But I just need to figure out how I can keep myself going as a person, because I'm looking at 50 plus hours of work per week and really not any rest time during these peak months. So yeah, that's just something for me to explore. Hello again. So this is the final product, which is a rainbow sweater. So I thought I'd just quickly try it on. Excuse the background. I'm doing this in my bedroom, so don't mind all that. As I said again, this is me knitting at home. This is what it's like. This is the kind of unglamorous side to it. So project total, as I said, last time we spoke, I had done basically the front, the back, one sleeve, and I had just started the other sleeve. And then, as I said, sometimes when you're knitting, you just kind of get on a roll, you forget that you're timing it, you forget that you're recording things, and I just went ham and I finished the whole thing. I ended up finishing and sewing up the whole thing basically. So that's why I thought I'll just show you the finished product. Now, very interesting. I used to always say that, oh, it takes me around 20 hours to knit a sweater. Yeah, no. This time round, it actually took me 30 hours to knit this. Sometimes in other weeks I might find that, you knit faster than others, you might have more time to knit. And I do work another job, so it can get a little bit tricky. But this time it took me 30 hours, and that is the reality. So this sweater is 100% handmade. I have knitted every single stitch in this. I have attached new wool to do all the stripes. I have darned all those in. I have sewn up every single one of these sleeves by hand. I have knitted the neck. I have sewn on the neck. So literally everything about this is handmade. 30 hours is the reality of what took to do this. So every knitter will be different. Some knitters will be able to knit something faster, some slower, some will have to take more time because their hands get sore. 30 hours for me was just over a week. So I would approximate to be about 7 to 8 days. And that took me, I actually realized when I was calculating it that it was taking me 2 to 3 hours a day actually out of my day. And I don't always realize that because I would just be sitting there knitting on my own, or sitting there knitting next to my partner while we're watching some TV. I'll be sitting up there at the table knitting, and I forget where the time goes. So it's been such a valuable experience to actually time this and actually see how long it took. So without further ado, I will show you the finished product. Here we go. So this is the rainbow sweater. Again, sorry that's not very glamorous here in my bedroom, but this is the finished product. This is what took 30 hours of time. 30 hours handmade using cotton. This is using like a chunky cotton. But I like to think that it's all been worth it because this is going to go to somebody's home. Somebody is going to be able to really enjoy this and wear this for a really long time. And with, when cared for properly, using hand washing, using a wool wash or a delicates wash that works with these cotton and wool fabrics, this can last a lifetime. So I hope you really enjoyed watching me do this this week, and kind of really saw the reality of what it takes to hand knit a sweater. 30 hours, there we go.